This is my dad's approximately 1908, 1909 New Way. The real nice original engine. Runs real nice. It's got maybe 90-95% of the original paint on it. You can read most of the decals. Likes to roll on this cart here. The only things not original on it are the muffler, the fan belt, and the oiler. As you can see, it's got that little decal down there. You can't really read it. And then it also says the, and then New Way over there. You can't really read New Way, but it's there. Read the outline. It's got pinstriping that goes there all the way around and comes down square. Pretty dirty down below, a lot of grease down there, and pretty much all the paint's down there. It's a Model A Type C 3.5 horse engine. It's serial number 7173. It's got this little pulley on it because we believe it because it ran a hildrith wood splitter. We're pretty sure about that. The wood splitter, as you can see, it's a pretty big unit, about 7 feet tall, real nice. You don't see many of them around. There's maybe half a dozen of them out there with the original wood like this one. It's got this on both sides. The axe comes down and splits the wood. You sit the wood on this table right here. This axe comes down. Like I said, there's one on both sides. And that wood splitter splits on each side once a second. I cleaned off a lot of grease off the base right here, and you can see all that paint. That's just a little area. Pretty much all there. There's a little scratch, a couple little scratches, but that's about it. These flywheels, they're originally red. When we got the engines, they were pink because they were faded so bad. You can see it better on this one, but with a little cleaning, they turned red again. The governor is right in there. This engine, it was really funky to get it started when we first got it. But, as I found out, there's a little pin right in there. Right up in there with the exhaust valve. And that pin was gone. And it was just out of adjustment, and I readjusted it a couple times. It would run good for a minute. But then it would just stop. Then I realized it was missing the pin. I put the pin in there. Now it runs great. This engine's got very little wear. The bearings are good. If I were to take this little screw out, or cap, oil would squirt out of there. Because the original oil system for the cooling fan, it operated oil from the cylinder dripped down to there and was pumped up through the tube and to the fan. Now this engine doesn't have grease cups like most of the main bearings. Instead, it just uses oil from the cylinder, drops down into the crankcase, and that's how it gets oiled. I got to get a better cart for this. This one, you can see, when it hits, it flexes pretty much. When this engine came with this hand crank, which is for an associate or United engine, 3 or 4 horse, somewhere in there. I know that because we've got another engine, a 3 to 4 horse, 3 to 4 horse United, and it uses the same hand crank with the same part number. I can see, I don't know if you can, but you can see the exhaust valve. It's up right there at the bottom of the valve guide. The only part on this entire engine that's cracked, broken, or welded, well, it's just broken, but there's a little nut down there, this hot metal, and that's broke. But it doesn't leak, so it's fine. And the patent dates on this engine, they go from 1904 to February 11th, 1908. What leads me to leave this engine was 1908, 1909, but yeah. Also, there's what appears to be a pinstripe going down this intake tube. I would assume there would have been one on each side. And I assume, you can see, there's a decal or something over there, and the pinstripe's the same over here. That square pinstripe is on the other side. Gonna shut her off now so I can show you a couple things that you can't really see when she's running. First of all, this fan, while it's tin, it appears as though it was painted red along with the flywheels, while the rest of the engine was green. And you can see a lot better what I meant by it's red now. But like I said, it used to look real pink because they were faded really, really bad. You can see, you can't really see because of the light, or you can maybe, but it's pretty red. I got to get better wires on this for running it. Maybe get better battery box when I put it on a better cart. But you can see it's most of the workings, less the governor, are enclosed. The cam gears are internal. And it runs real nice, starts real easy. It's one of the earlier ones with the hinged crankcases. The later ones just use the non-hinged crankcase. See the "the" on there? You can't really see it, but it does say New Way over here. And that decal that I can't read probably says goes and goes right, which was the New Way motto. And you can see it's the flywheel says New Way Motor Company USA, or Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, USA. You can't read it because it's not going all in one direction. So it's the same thing on this flywheel. Someday we're gonna hook this up to the wood splitter. Hopefully we won't cut our arms off, but that's possible with that thing. You hear stories, well, you used to hear stories about people who operated them, or knew someone who operated them, and they lost an arm to the splitter. Because if you put your arm in between the wedge and the piece of wood, it will cut it off. Your hand, anything. Because that flywheel, it's a pretty big flywheel. Most of the weight of that splitter is the flywheel. And I bet you this whole splitter weighs 1,000 pounds, something like that. But it's a big flywheel. I think it's 40 inches in diameter. That thing's That flywheel, I bet you weighs at least 300 pounds. And that it's not moving these far up and down. Maybe 6-8 inches at most. And this, we believe this wood splitter, just the wood splitter, was in a fire because the wood's burned pretty bad. Looks like it had a cast brass name tag here. It would have said hildrith. You got this thing covered with stuff, but and with this pulley, we did the math with this diameter pulley and that diameter flywheel at the rated RPM of 450. That's going once per second, which it was rated to. The tin on this is a little beat up. You can see around here, it's bent, twisted, and up around here, but it's there. On a lot of these engines, it's gone. And on a lot of these engines, there is not nearly this much paint. I mean, you can see, like I showed you earlier, that grease just comes right off. There's a lot of paint under that. And it's a lot lighter than it looks up on the shroud. I don't know why that is, but they're the same color. You can see down here it's the lightest. Then up here it gets a little darker, and real dark up there. No clue why that is, but